Good morning everyone. Today we will discuss about chapter number 10, motion and measurement. And today we will discuss about different modes, different methods of measurement. So first of all, we will discuss about ancient methods of measurement. In earlier times, body parts were used to measure the things. Yes, body parts were used to measure the things. Handspans are there, cubits were there, footsteps were there. To measure the things, they use the different body parts. But as you know, the size of different body parts, the size of body parts differ from person to person. So that's why it is not an exact way, accurate way of measurement. So there is a need of any standard system, standard measurement units. So after that there is an invention of there is a standard units of measurement. Yes, SI system. SI system. This system of measurement is universally accepted. It means there is a length, time, mass and temperature. In same way, the standard unit of measurement, the standard unit to measuring length is meter. The basic unit to measuring length is meter, and on the basis of need, we can, there are some, it is divided into some another units like the meter, centimeter, millimeter, kilometer. If we have to find the long distance, then we can use the kilometer. If we have to tell the small distance, then we can use the millimeter. So it is depend on the size of the object. So the basic unit of length is meter and the basic unit of time is second. Yes, the basic unit of time is second, and rest of the units of time, it is your hour is there and minute is there. The basic unit of mass is gram. Yes, the basic unit of mass is gram, and if we have to weight some heavy object, then we can use the unit kilogram, as well as you can say if we want to weight the object which is not so heavy, so we can use kilogram and gram as well as milligram. Now temperature. Temperature, we can measure the temperature in degrees Celsius as well as Kelvin. So it depends on our need ki which unit we are using to measure the things. Now tell me, what is a unit? Unit means, okay, before the unit, first of all discuss what do you mean by measurement. Measurement means comparison of the unknown quantity with the known quantity. Comparison of an unknown quantity with the known quantity, and this known quantity is known as unit. So we can use different units according to our need. Now we will discuss the conversion of units. Yes, conversion of one unit into another. So there is a problem for us, numerical problem for us, and for this we have to convert 1.65 meter into centimeter and millimeter. So let us find out how we can convert. So first of all, as you know, 1 meter equal to 100 centimeter. 1 meter equal to 100 centimeter, and we have to convert 1.65 meter into centimeter. So this is 1.65 meter equal to, because meter should be converted into centimeter. So how can we get it? 1.65 multiplied by 100, and your answer is 1.6500, and decimal is after 2 place. So 1, 2. So what is your answer? 165 centimeter. Is it clear? In the same way, we can convert the 1.65 meter into millimeter. So this is there. 1 meter equal to how many millimeter? Yes, 1000 millimeter. 1 meter is equal to 1000 millimeter. Now 1.65 meter. So 1.65 meter equal to 1.65 multiplied by 1000. So we will get the answer 165, 1, 2, 3. 3 zeros are there, and decimals after 2 place. 1, 2. So from the last we will count down 1 and 2. So answer is 1650 millimeter. It is very easy, na? So in that way we can convert one unit into another. Now there is a one more problem for you. For in this we have to convert meter into kilometer. Yes, meter into kilometer. So let us do. Okay, so 1 meter equal to 1 upon 1000 kilometer. 1 kilometer equal to 1000 meter, na? So I just do the reverse of it. So how many meter is there? 3250. So 3250 meter equal to 3250 divided by 1000. Divide by 1000, and when we solve it, we will find the answer 3250 kilometers. So how easily we can convert one unit into another. Now we will discuss how to measure the length of a knitting needle. Yes, we have to find the length of a knitting needle and the reading of the scale. At one end is 3 centimeter and on another end is 33.1 centimeter. So we have to find what is the length of the knitting needle. So let us find out. So naturally the initial reading, the initial length of the initial reading on the scale of the knitting needle, it is your 3 centimeter. So it is your 3 centimeter, and the final reading on the scale, the final reading on the scale is 33.1 centimeter. So see, the initial reading, the first reading on the scale of the knitting needle is 3 centimeter, and the final reading of the knitting needle on the scale is 33.1 centimeter. Now the length of the needle. The length of the needle is equal to final reading minus initial reading. Yes, final reading minus initial reading. So what is the, when we means we will get the length of the knitting needle when we subtract the initial reading from the final one. So final reading is 33.1 centimeter and your initial reading is 3 centimeter. So what is the length of the knitting needle? Naturally that is there 30.1 centimeter. So in that way, in this way, we can easily obtain the length of any object. Morning everyone. Today we will discuss about reproduction in plants. Yes, reproduction in plants. Reproduction is a character of living organism. It is a character of living organism. Every living organism can reproduce. Reproduction means production of new individuals of their own kind from the parent cell. So reproduction means production of new individuals. When we are talking about the plant, in the plants reproduction is done only by two methods. In plants reproduction is done by two methods, asexual and the sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction means when the new plant arises without the help of the seed or without the seed. So that mode of reproduction is known as asexual reproduction. So when we are talking about the asexual reproduction, so first of all we will discuss about vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means when a new plant arises from the different parts of a plant. There are different parts of a plant, like the roots are there, stems are there, leaves are there. When the new plant arises with the help of these parts, then this type of reproduction is known as asexual reproduction or is known as vegetative propagation. For example, we can grow a new plant with the help of the roots of the sweet potato. Yes, if we will take the roots of the sweet potato, then it can give rise to a new plant. With the help of the stem, we can grow a new plant like the potato. With the help of the leaves, we can grow a new plant like the bryophyllum. So, when the production of new plant is done with the different parts of a plant, except the seed, That is known as vegetative propagation. The next method of asexual reproduction in plant is budding. Yes, budding. Budding means budding is a small projection. It is a small projection out of the cell. It happens in yeast. Yeast, it is unicellular organism. Okay, so when the yeast, it is a small projection, it is there. So after the growing, this projection grows out, and after that it detach from the body of the parent cell and grow into a new yeast plant. Now the next topic, the next method is fragmentation. Fragmentation is found in alga. For example, an alga, the body of an alga is divided into many fragments, and each fragment grows into a new alga. So in this way they will reproduce, they multiply their number. Now the spore formation, the spores are the small structures are there, just like it is found in fungi, and each spore, when they get the favorable conditions, they give rise to a new plant. And there is a covering, there is a protective covering on the spore, so it protects them from the adverse conditions, and when the favorable condition is there, each spore give rise to a new plant. So these are the different methods of asexual reproduction in plants. First is your vegetative propagation, like in sweet potato and bryophyllum. Next is the budding, like in yeast. Next is the fragmentation, like in alga, and next is the spore formation, like in fungi. Now there is one more method in plant, that is the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction means when the plant and the new plant will grown up with the help of the seeds. Yes, with the help of the seeds, like mango and papaya. So when we are talking about the sexual reproduction, there are two parts are there. One is the male reproductive part and one is the female reproductive part. And which is the reproductive part of a plant? Yes, that is the flower. Flower is the reproductive part of a plant. And on the basis of presence of this male and female reproductive part, there are two types of flower. Unisexual and bisexual. Unisexual flower and bisexual flower. Unisexual flowers are there in which either male reproductive part is there or female reproductive part is there, and in bisexual flower both reproductive parts are present. So let us discuss about that. So the male reproductive part of a plant is stamen. Yes, the male reproductive part of a plant is stamen, and the female reproductive part of a plant is pistil. So stamen is the male reproductive part and the pistil is the female reproductive part. And the parts which take place, which are responsible for the process of reproduction, it is the pollen grains, it is found in the stamen, and the egg, it is found in the pistil. So this egg and pollen grains, when they fuse together, they give rise to zygote. Yes, they give rise to zygote, and this zygote develops and grows into embryo, and from this embryo we will get the fruits and flower. So this is a complete process of reproduction in plants. Now we will discuss about the process of pollination and fertilization in plants. Yes, the process of pollination and fertilization in plants. Pollination means transfer of pollen grains. Transfer of pollen grains, which are a male reproductive part of a plant, from anther to stigma. The process of the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma is known as pollination. Pollen grains, these are the small granules like structure, and they have a protective coat. They have a hard protective coat. This protective coat prevents them from drying, so that when they get the favorable condition, they will get, you can say, fused with the female reproductive part. So these pollen grains moving from one place to another with the help of wind, with the help of water, with the help of animals, and when they get the chance, they will just fuse with the female reproductive part, that is the egg. So pollination means the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Pollination is of two types. Pollination is of two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination means when the pollen grains move from the stigma or move from the anther to the stigma of the same plant. Means when there is a pollination on the same plant, that process is known as self-pollination. And when the pollen grains move from the anther to the stigma of a different plant, then this type of pollination is the cross-pollination. Means internal pollination, moving of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same plant is the self-pollination, and moving to the different plant is known as the cross-pollination. So after the process of pollination, there is a fusion of gametes, fusion of male gamete and female gametes. Male gamete is pollen grains and female gamete is egg. After the fusion of that male and female gamete, there is a formation of zygote. Yes, there is a formation of zygote, and this process of fusion of gametes is known as fertilization. Yes, this process is known as fertilization. So after the process of fertilization, there is a formation of zygote. The zygote after that grows up into an embryo. And the fruit we eat actually the fruit is the ovary of a plant. Yes, the ovary, you can say it's swollen up and gets converted into fruit. The food is going to store into it, and the seeds of the fruits are the ovules of a plant. So these are the different process. Pollination means transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma, and fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes to form a new plant, to produce a new plant.